All right, business owners, welcome back to the 44-Day Challenge. I'm Scott Duke inside the Wellstand Studio. Today's book is Expensive Mistakes When Buying and Selling Companies and How to Avoid Them in Your Deals. This was written by Richard Stieglitz and Stuart Sorkin. All right. Every book is targeted at a different audience that I read of business owners. Some are targeted for really small businesses. You would call them micro businesses doing under $1 million a year in sales with 4 employees. And then some books are targeted at mid-market businesses. Some are even targeted at larger businesses that are going to attract public companies to be acquired. This particular book leans to the side of larger companies. Nothing wrong with that. In fact, if you have a company that is doing over $5 million, $50 million a year, and you're looking to sell it in a mergers and acquisitions, whether to a private equity firm or to a public company, I highly, highly suggest picking up this book. The format of this book is going through examples, other people's mistakes, and pulling out the wisdom from those so that you can avoid those mistakes. And it is best captured in the first quote we're going to pull out of on page 1. And this quote states, I actually love this quote. It's a great way to start a book. Begin with the end in mind. A successful acquisition or sale is created three times. First, in your imagination as a possibility. Second, in your plans as an objective. And third, in reality as the results of your actions. A popular maxim says that average people learn from their mistakes, stupid people repeat their mistakes, and brilliant people learn from the mistakes and successes of others. And that's what this whole book is about, cataloging large mistakes of other business transactions so that you can avoid them. Okay, we're going to move forward here into our knowledge nuggets. We usually pull out 3. Today I'm going to cover 4 because this book had so many. You could probably actually pull 20 out of it, but I pulled out the best 4, so away we go. Our first knowledge nugget comes on page 5 and is about your chances, your probability of success after receiving a letter of intent, an LOI. So you've got a buyer, you've attracted them, they have interest in the business, and they've expressed interest through a letter of intent. And what happens at that point? Interesting. I love this stuff. I love statistics. So 1 in 10 preliminary discussions between a qualified buyer and willing seller lead to a signed letter of intent. So this book's saying you're likely going to work with 10 people before you even get to the letter of intent. Once you're there, 60% of signed LOIs actually close, and experts' experience vary between 40 and 80% from the experts that they touch base on, making an average of 60. That's really good. That's higher than I thought. When I read this, that's fantastic number. So you know if you get to that LOI stage, there is a high probability, 60% chance you're going to make it even further than that. Transactions, even those that don't close, can easily cost $20,000 or more in professional fees. Be prepared for that. Again, I'll remind you this book is targeted at larger businesses. If you have a smaller business, your transaction fees will definitely be a little bit lower than that. 2/3 of closed transactions produce the expected value, which is a higher percentage than for publicly traded companies. So this is saying if you get your LOI, you have it signed, there's 2/3 chance that you're going to get that actual value that is in the LOI. Again, really good numbers. So our goal as sellers is to get ourselves prepared and get ourselves to the point where we can actually start receiving those letters of intent. Knowledge nugget number 2 is on building your executive team. So we've covered a lot in the 44 days how incredibly important it is to build a business that is not reliant on you. And building your executive team is a big part of that. If you don't have an executive team because your company is a little bit smaller, that's fine. It's about building your key staff in your organization so that they can operate without you on a daily basis. Remember, you're pulling yourself out of this company. You aren't no longer going to be there. And it's going to be much more attractive to a buyer if that company can operate without you and they can easily plug themselves in. So build your executive team. Our next knowledge nugget is, what are the major questions a buyer is going to ask so you can be prepared for them? The authors condense them down into 3 questions. 3 big questions that if you know the answers to, you're going to be that much closer to be able to communicate with your buyer and give them confidence. These questions are, why are you selling? Number 1, how bright is the future? Number 2, and what are the hidden opportunities and risks? So if you can cover these questions, bring answers out for these questions in the meetings you have with the buyers, in the phone calls you have with the buyers, in the tours you do around your building with the buyers, in your memorandum, in your prospectus, whatever it might be, if you're constantly targeting these 3 questions, knowing these are the biggest problems or biggest concerns that a buyer has when they come forward to purchase a business, answer these up front, better chance for you to sell on the end. Our bonus knowledge nugget today is on locking in financing, getting your business pre-approved before you even meet with a buyer. This is something that most people don't do. It's a great nugget to pull out of this book, and we found in our experience, it's a good exercise to put yourself through, and it sets your business up for success. We're recording this video today in Canada. One of the largest banks in Canada for business transactions is BDC, and BDC states that 70% of your financing is about the buyer and 30% is about the business. So if you can know that 30% before you even sit down with a buyer and have that chunk of the financing already pre-approved, that's a great way to market your business. You can put it out there and say, business pre-approved for financing, and you'll attract more buyers. Great tip to come out of this book. The second quote that we pulled out of this book is on realities. And it's a good thing to think about. And as much as I'm here to give you guys knowledge, I'm also here to talk to you about the challenges. Because if you know about the challenges in advance, you'll be better able to tackle them. And I thought this quote was pretty good when I read it. So it states, "We've met dozens of people like this entrepreneur," and they talk to an entrepreneur that's about to sell their business. "They're sales consultants, financial planners, website developers, technology wizards, and craftsmen. Most of them are highly educated professionals who are good at what they do and make a good living doing it. But they probably will work forever and retire based on IRA contributions they siphon from current earnings. The business itself is the main source of income to the owner and his family, and the owner has no desire to formalize its operations. So if your headquarters is at home, you provide services in a highly competitive market, your processes and financial records are in your head, and your customers are also good friends, then your business will be difficult to sell." So if any of this stuff resonated with you when I was reading it, these are some of the key factors that make your business difficult to sell or even unsellable. So you can rewind this and kind of listen to the quote again and go ding, ding, ding. If a lot of those things represent your business and yourself, then that's okay, because you know that right now, so you can take action to change it. And really, it's all about implementing those systems, having recurring revenue through a customer stream, having the business able to operate without yourself. And you can go back and find a dozen other things to do in the 44-day challenge that tell you how to improve your business. But no, these are things that if you connect with this and this sounds like your business, there is a high chance that you may not be able to sell. Don't shoot the messenger, just get out there and change it so you can get out with a paycheck. And the biggest takeaway from expensive mistakes when buying and selling companies is plan integration. Whether that integration is preparing your employees, whether it is setting up a transition plan between yourself and the buyer, that should happen during due diligence, and you should focus on it a lot. And that is so that when that actual day comes and you transition, whether you're going to be working in the company moving forward or whether the buyer is going to be working himself, you want to set them up for success. And implementing a transition plan is going to be massive in achieving success in the end. Okay, guys, that was day 25 of the 44-day challenge. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow. I'm Scott Duke. And again, thanks for watching. All this information is for you guys, getting it out there onto the web so you can have a better chance of selling your company when the day comes. Have a good one.